From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. A production of iHeartRadio.
Hello, welcome back to the show. My name is Matt.
My name is Noel.
They call me Ben. We're joined, as always, with our super producer, Dylan the Tennessee Pal Fagan. Most importantly, you are here, and that makes this the stuff they don't want you to know. Let's all pause for a moment and give ourselves a sniff test. How are we smelling, guys? How we smell?
Fresh out of the shower, baby,
Same.
with a little perfumage going on.
Did you put some of those pheromones on?
I did.
Some of those musk scents that
Rubbed
you described?
directly into my pits.
All right.
Arm and otherwise.
I can
There we
smell it
go.
from here. Your crevasses. Yeah.
Get the Australia. Make sure it happens. Yeah, and I still smell like an airplane. Do with that what you will, folks.
Like jet fuel?
No, the inside of an airplane.
Okay, cool.
The passenger part.
Got it.
We've all encountered someone who, for one reason or another, doesn't smell amazing. And we're not better than anybody else. We're not immune to this either. After a workout or enough time without a shower or toothbrush encounter, pretty much everybody acquires some kind of not entirely pleasant odor. I got to ask you guys, without calling out specifics, what's the weirdest smell you've ever encountered from a person? A stranger or a loved one, like the weirdest not pleasant smell?
That's a very personal question,
Yeah.
man.
It's weird once you've had kids because, the kids make all the stuff that has the smells when they're little tiny babies, and you just you either get used to it or, you're going to be vomiting in your mouth a little bit every once in a while.
Or a combination of the two. They're not mutually exclusive.
It's
We're not
true.
impervious. Yeah.
I don't know. Children smells are a thing.
I'm currently slung up with a little tiny puppy named Apollo, and he was described to me as smelling like cotton candy. I don't think I smell that, but who am I to judge?
Maybe you guys have different brands of cotton candy. You know
Also
what
true.
I mean? I wonder if there's barbecue cotton candy. I wonder if there's flavored cotton candy. An idea for
would
the
be good?
future.
Tagine cotton candy.
Ben,
I
what
can
is
see that.
the strangest smell you've ever smelled on somebody?
A sickly sweet medicinal aroma in a not quite cotton candy, but cloying, I would say, and very strong. This wasn't in this country, but it did fill up the bus we were traveling on to the point where other people on the bus were talking about it, and eventually determined it was this one elderly gentleman in the back. And I had a conversation with him. Don't know what happened to him, but we had to have that conversation outside because this aura, his olfactory aura, was so pervasive that it filled up the bus. So it had to have been a medical condition.
That's what I was going to say, Ben. I'm spacing on the name, and there are probably multiple, but I have heard of certain medical conditions causing someone to have kind of a perma smell. And I'm trying to think. I think it was like a plot point. I know what it was. It was in that Paul Giamatti Christmas movie that I'm forgetting the name of, where he's like a kind of a curmudgeonly professor. It came out a couple years ago. It's like very Hal Ashby kind of 70s. Very good. And his character has this condition where he's constantly smelly, and it comes up a lot in terms of how it affects his social life.
Yeah, that's rough. Actually, we have an update from Dylan on this. That film is The Leftovers. Thank you,
And
Tennessee.
it was very good. If you're into 70s movies like Harold and Maude, highly recommend that.
And this is a weird conversation always. We are not doctors, but I think we can all agree that what constitutes a bad smell can be culturally dependent. And in most cases, thankfully, unpleasant aromas can be easily addressed. But how far do these bad smells go? What messages do they carry? While we were creating our earlier episode on human pheromones, we ran into an incredibly strange question, which is this: can you smell death?
I mean, people always talk about the smell of death, and we can certainly smell dead things, right? But is this a step further than that? I think it might be.
Here are the facts. Smell, the good, the bad, the ugly. First things first, let's get it out there. Let's just all be honest with each other together in this digital room tonight. Earth kind of stinks, you guys. Not always in a bad way. It's just there's a lot of smelly stuff.
There's a lot of stuff going on, guys. Look at all the plant life around you, especially here in the great metropolis of Atlanta and the greater area. There's so many trees and different kinds of trees and plants that the smells of nature are generally considered pleasing. But I always think about that one special tree if you head on down towards Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And it just gives off this smell that your body knows like something's weird with that one.
Yeah. As a Georgia Tech alum, I'm familiar with that. Matt, did you ever see the Mitchell and Webb sketch about Queen Victoria? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We're audio, so Matt's giving the best nod here. Noel, are you familiar with that one?
Yeah, for sure. Big Mitchell and Webb fan of everything.
Go out and watch that one if you haven't seen it yet.
Yes. Yeah. We'll probably each independently rewatch it after this. What a banger. Yeah. The earth is filled, wherever you go in the natural environment, the earth is filled with countless small molecules of odor that are responsible for all sorts of good and bad smelling things. And if you are human, your nose has a superpower just for these molecules. It sucks air into your nostrils over these bony ridges called turbinates, and then the air travels over millions and millions of receptor neurons that sit on a thing called the olfactory epithelium. It's about the size of a stamp. I'm touching the part of my nose where I think this is. It's on the roof of your nasal cavity. So when you snarf up and huff the air, these cells perk up when those molecules hit them, which means that technically, yes, whenever you smell something, you're also kind of tasting it. So please think about that the next time someone farts in a crowded elevator.
And also think about that doggo that's currently sitting on your lap, Noel.
Hasn't happened yet. I haven't caught a whiff yet.
Well, no.
But I've been told by others.
Well, what I mean is your dog is catching a whiff of whatever's going on around you, because we got about 6 million of those receptors Ben's talking about. Doggos have like 200, 300 million of those same receptors. So that
it does blow my mind sometimes how they're not just constantly overwhelmed. And some of them are. And this little fella so far can be. He's got a little bit of a nervous twitch when there's too much stuff going on. So I wonder if smells enter into it.
Everything's got the new car smell.
It's true. He does do this funny thing, though, where he'll like really warm up to you and then you'll leave the room and you'll come back and he'll have immediately forgotten you and is like re-scared of you, which is cute, but also a little frustrating.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and dogs treat smell the way that humans treat sight. It is their primary way of experiencing the world, which makes them interesting for our conversation later this evening. Anyway, long story short, these receptor cells catch wind of these molecules and send signals to your brain. Your brain is fantastic at parsing this info. A great analogy for this is like a guy who's worked at a record shop forever, and customers come in and they hum just a snatch of a song, and immediately the record store guy is like, oh yeah, Leonard Skinner, that smell. And this is how your brain works. Your brain is an amazing library, essentially. It takes information from these olfactory receptors. It references everything it's encountered before. One of the most common examples you'll hear about when we talk about smell is going to be the scent of something like fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. Okay, we all know what that smell is like, or hopefully most of us know what that smell is like. But that smell is a combination of a bunch of other chemicals and molecules and distinct smells working together. Your brain doesn't go, oh, these are 70 plus smells. You don't consciously think that. Your brain does all the work for you. And then boom, instead of knowing specific chemical reactions, you just realize someone nearby is baking. Or you're in a grocery store where they've piped in that fake scent.
Yeah, or even like, to the previous episode we did on pheromones and such, you sort of get this general sense of what a combination of smells represents, even beyond like a tangible thing like that. The thing that gets conjured could be a memory or like a time in your life or something, rather than specifically referring to what the various components that make up the smell might be.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons a lot of people have an aversion to what's described as the smell of a hospital. Even though a hospital doesn't, not one single hospital smells exactly like another hospital, but there is
it's a vibe.
There's a combination of a lot of these different molecules, right, that float around, and then they get associated, as we're talking about here, with a memory of a specific time you were in one, which is probably not for a good thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, a big part of this is memory. As we mentioned in our pheromones episode, smell is the primary encoder of long-term memory for humans, or it's one of the big players. Not for nothing did Proust base an entire novel on this, Remembrance of Things Past. Your brain is so big on memorizing good and bad experiences, and it associates those experiences with smell. So smell becomes kind of like your search engine for your library of moments past. And scientists call this olfaction-associated memory. Humans right now can recognize about 10,000 different odors, which sounds like a lot until we think about how many other smells are out there. And to Matt's point, no two people smell anything exactly the same. Since different folks have unique experiences, they can also have different responses to smell. Like if you grew up on a horse farm, right? Other people may say horse poop stinks, but when you smell horse manure, you might think of warm, pleasant spring afternoons, feeding apples to old man Jehoshaphat, which is a horse I made up.
Oh, yeah. Good old fella. It's fun. My mom often described things as tasting the way things smell, which is, you can kind of wrap your head around it. It doesn't quite, it's not counterintuitive, on paper, but I think we can all kind of get what that means.
Yeah, 70% of taste is smell, essentially. With that, do you guys have examples of smells that other people might not consider great that have good memories for you?
I can think of an example of a smell that basically kind of reminded by what you said at the top of the show, smelling like an airplane. The smell of jet fuel makes me feel like traveling. It reminds me of trips of the past. It reminds me of being a kid and being on flights and going to see my mom. And that smell that many people could find, fetid or unpleasant, I always associate with positive memories.
Dude.
Nice.
I experienced this the other day, went out to a restaurant, and after parking and getting out of the vehicle, there's this really strong smell that myself and the people with couldn't quite place. And then we realized, it's like super fresh petroleum-based paint. And
nice.
And it reminded me of a two-stroke engine or one of these smaller engines on like an ATV, which then, and it gave, we were all remarking how strong and kind of gross it was, but at the same time, it was bringing all of these thoughts of me getting on my friend's, ATV in the backyard and driving around like we're crazy kids. But
it reminds me of the term sickly sweet people use sometimes, to describe kind of like a negative smell that also is kind of positive.
Yeah, cloying perhaps. And I'm right there with you, Matt, and with you, Noel, because I have a personal example without getting into too many specifics that I think speaks to both of these stories. I will always be transported by the smell of exhaust, especially exhaust from a vehicle without a catalytic converter, because it reminds me of times when I was having adventures, and to be fair, misadventures in countries where catalytic converters are not a thing. So when I smell that, instantly I'm back there. Just for a second, I'm transported, I'm transformed. And this happens to all of us because the memory a scent resurrects has a neurochemical effect on you. It triggers feel-good chemicals in your brain. I'm Noel, I'm smelling jet fuel, or I'm smelling fuel from aviation, and immediately now I'm not all the way in the present. Part of me is in the past on exciting journeys and adventures. I'm Matt. I'm smelling this thing that logically to me in the present day may not be the most amazing smell, but the me of the past, the Matt past is on an ATV having adventures. This is so cool. It also reminds me of our conversation previously, which explains just this. The olfactory associated memories are the reason that long-term partners tend to dig each other's stank, even when the rest of the world is like, oh my God, what is this guy, human gym sock?
Yeah. Yeah. Another one that comes to mind is like the smell of the kind of the rotten smell of the ocean on the West Coast. Like it's almost like a oceany low tide sewer smell. And I've always associated that with travels to San Francisco and Los Angeles, like throughout my life. And that smell, whenever it comes back, it sort of mixes with the salt and a little bit of that kind of funky, sewer ocean smell, like rotting fish or something it brings back positive memories. So it's an interesting thought experiment, Ben.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Kind of like New York described in smells. We'd love to hear you describe your city in a smell, by the way, conspiracy realist, conspiracy@iHeartRadio.com. New York, I would say fresh baked bagels, some frying meat, some urine, and some cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
New York
These
City,
days,
baby.
Yeah, man. Maybe a little horse manure if you're near the park.
There we go. There's an interesting thing we should mention, by the way. The opposite can be true here as well. And let's see if any of us have a specific example of this. Most people enjoy the smell of certain flowers or plant life other than linden trees. Although, Matt, I imagine there are some people who enjoy the smell of linden trees. You might like citrus fruits as well, or you at least find these smells inoffensive, tolerable. However, your memory and the way it links to smell is so powerful that if you associate a good smell with a certain traumatic event, you will react adversely to it. You know, like something bad happened to you as a child that you associate with the smell of lemon cream cheese bars. And everybody else finds them an inoffensive, I'll say it, C-tier level dessert. But you go to a place.
You don't like a lemon bar?
It's one of my favorites.
I love a lemon bar.
It's C-tier.
Wow.
Go eat your Raisin Bran.
S-tier, baby. S-tier here.
All right. Well, more lemon bars for you guys.
Dang, I have a specific memory of that. Well, I won't get into it, but yeah. Very positive memory of those. Dang.
But that's the thing. It's somewhat arbitrary. It's case by case. Everybody's unique here. If someone was around a lemon bar when something terrible happened to them, like they got news of a loved one passing, or they stepped on a landmine. I don't know what kind of situation this is, but they every time they smell a lemon bar, they're like, where's my left foot? I forgot about that. This party sucks.
Well, Ben, I have a feeling we're going to get into some of this, but I'll just kind of prime the pump here. When I think of the idea of smelling death, too, I often think of the reports of people experiencing strokes or certain brain events as smelling almonds or smelling burning hair or things like that. That's always blown my mind. And every time I get a whiff of a little burning something, I'm always like, oh, no, is it me? Is this the time? Okay.
Just to stay on lemons for a second, I have a specific thing that I think you guys might feel the same way about lemon bars, but lemon pepper wings, I can't stand the smell of it.
Oh, wow.
It's a very oppressive smell. A delicious taste, not a good smell.
It's a chemically smell.
It stings the nostrils.
Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Oh, I have specific memories of discarded lemon pepper, like clearly lemon pepper wings, just the bones and stuff, but you could still
strewn around Atlanta proper.
I think that's Atlanta's smell.
Your brow. Are you traveling back there now?
Yeah.
I think it might be a lemon extract of some sort in that case too, because I
almost don't think a lemon is involved now that I'm thinking about it. In a lemon pepper, because there's no lemon to it. To be honest, it's something. I like it as a taste. It's got some zing, but it's a chemically vibe.
I can feel it in the back of my back top of my mouth right now. This is also, folks, when you come to Atlanta, yes, the stereotypes are true. Lemon pepper wet rules the day. It does taste better than it smells. And as Noel pointed out, it is a city riddled with chicken wing bones.
Yes.
It is apparently at its best made with dried lemon zest, black pepper, and salt. So there you go.
Shout out to the local.
The local's got the best lemon pepper wet. And look it up. Literally, you type that in. It is Atlanta-centric. And it's very good, but maybe not for everybody. Apparently, the best wings in town I've yet to try come from a famous gentleman's club.
Oh yeah, the Cheetah, right? Alluvia.
I think it's Magic City. People
Magic
say
City?
has the best wings.
Time for some research, boys. So this also shows us that olfactory associated memory can be a matter of individual perception, but this is the important part for our conversation tonight. Despite that individuation, there are certain scents that humans overwhelmingly agree are good or bad. Some of these smells are noted as really good or really bad, even when a human experiences them for the first time, which means that certain affinity for or avoidance of different smells is hardwired into you. It is instinctual. You are not that far removed from the ancestral days of primates of old. You know what I mean? Like some smells here's one. Most humans find the smell of blood repellent in large amounts,
great.
the coppery tang, because I don't know, but other species like predator species dig it. It tells them where to go.
Tells them where to go. The shark, for example, is always looking for that blood smell in the water. Sharks can smell underwater, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah, they can also sense electromagnetic fluctuations.
That's right.
But here's the interesting thing. Okay, so sharks can swim faster than us, right? But I think we could all outrun a shark on land. So in a triathlon, it really comes down to who is the better bicyclist.
Y'all, sharks can, absolutely.
I stole that meme and I'm going to keep it. I'm
training up, y'all. I just got a really sweet gravel bike, and I'm gonna do a triathlon before you know it. You'll see.
What?
You'll see. Mark my words. But y'all, sharks can smell blood in concentrations as low as 1 part per million.
Yep.
Talk about smelling death from a mile away.
And Dylan, thank you in advance for inserting that on the shark joke. So there's another thing that smell can do. It functions as a warning system. It lets you know when something might make you sick, right? The insane stench of rotting eggs. I think most humans don't like that. That's because of hydrogen sulfide that's released when the bacteria in the eggs breaks down. You get too close around it, you linger too long, you're going to throw up. Garbage, rotting flesh, 2 other examples. And I don't know if you guys, I think we may have talked about this on air, but remember all those stories about animals in nursing homes that were purported to be able to sense death? I'm thinking specifically of Oscar the cat. That's probably the most famous version.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I know about this.
I remember that one. Oscar would spend a lot of time with certain individuals and almost alert, but as much as a cat can alert in the same way, a cadaver dog can alert. But I remember that distinctly.
The question with Oscar is, could this cat really sense death, or are dying people just less likely to move around, which makes them a better stationary sleep spot? Ouch. Yeah. Oscar is a fascinating story. We also hear stories of human hospice workers, bereaved family members, which everyone is at some point in their life, and even strangers who will stop someone on the street and say, "Pardon me, please. We don't know each other, but you need to visit the doctor right now. Can we smell death?" Here's where it gets crazy. Death is like gravity. Does that make sense? Does that ring true? Like, we see its effects, but we don't fully understand it?
I can get behind that.
Yeah. In our previous explorations, we talked about how this concept of brain death came about and how it was a need for medical professionals to declare someone dead, right? And like, what is that actual state of death? And is it just when your heart stops beating or when your brain stops sending certain electrical signals anymore? Or is it something else?
Right. Yeah. Humans don't really know the spiritual, philosophical, or consciousness based aspects of the dying process, but humans have an increasingly solid understanding of the physical process. And even without smell, right? Even in this post COVID or long COVID world, humans can generally tell when another person is dead. I think that's fair. But there are still mistakes. I think maybe a better question is, can humans smell impending death? Can you sense medical conditions that could lead to a mortality event? Have you guys ever had this experience? Have you ever caught a whiff of someone's aroma or their secretions, to use the pheromonic term, and then thought something's wrong with this person?
I've heard it described like in fiction and TV and film. Do I want to say like in the show Deadwood, like there's a Doc character and he sometimes refers to like the reek of putrefaction, or I think there's a plot line where the saloon owner Al Swearingen has really, 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 really crazy bad kidney stones.
Oof.
And like his urine has a smell of blood because of what's happening in his body. That maybe is a little bit more general than what you're describing, but it is not something I've ever personally experienced.
I think that counts.
Yeah. I've had multiple family members in hospice, and it's difficult for me to know whether I was smelling something specific about what they were going through individually, or if what I smelled was, a part of the care that they had to go through, where they're being cleaned and taken to the bathroom and all that other stuff. And like, is it a combination of that stuff, or is it actually something emanating from a loved one, that smells of them passing soon?
Right. Yeah. And you've hit upon one of the big questions here, because first, in the hospice situation, as the four of us all unfortunately know, the hospice situation can make it difficult to isolate a smell to a specific person, because there are so many people who are going through some very difficult things, right? And the cleaning regimen of the hospice is going to make some noise, smell-wise, some olfactory noise. So it can be very difficult to kind of cut through the noise and figure out this is what's happening to this person in particular. But we do know when a person approaches the end of their life and death is looming on the horizon, the body starts shutting down slowly. It doesn't shut down all at once. Pretty often, unless there's a super traumatic sudden injury, your body will start closing down multiple systems and internal processes, or processes, if you want to put a tie on it. And those shutdowns each can produce distinct smells. You were saying, Noel, the change in the smell of urine. Right. I was that stranger a couple times, once, where I violated the social compact and asked someone to go to a doctor, a person I didn't know, from a can of paint. Because
and we also know, Ben, that you have some sensitivities to certain smells just in your general life. So I do wonder if maybe you might be blessed with powers of smell beyond, the average folks.
Oh, I'll tell you who is, Noel. This is a bit of trivia. I think it's okay for us to disclose on air. But you guys remember when we learned that none other than our own Jerry Rowland is what's called a super taster?
Super taster.
Super
and that would
smeller?
have to impact smell ability
100%.
as well,
yeah.
since they're so linked. Yeah.
Yeah. So if Jerry's kids ever try to sneak cigarettes, she's going to bust them so quickly. She'll know.
No. Mama Jerry will bring down the iron fist of judgment upon them.
There are other things that can affect what we would call the smell of death. Infections from injuries right? Necrosis of your tissue, changes in bowel and feces smell. That's when, your digestive process isn't firing on all cylinders. And then the buildup of waste that a healthy body would normally take care of, producing ammonia as a very distinct smell.
Yeah, and failing kidneys. That's how you get the urine smell when you're like, whoa, something is off there. And
a darker color, if I'm not mistaken. That can be a bad sign and often accompanied by a stronger smell.
And if your this is so specific, talking from experience here, if the bubbles in your urine are not popping quickly, like if they're not too fizzalicious and they're taking too long, it may mean that there is possibly blood in your urine or something worth getting looked at. Again, we're not doctors.
Also, y'all, to take the opportunity every chance I get to quote Josh Clark, our buddy from Stuff You Should Know, your poop should resemble a ropey S.
Thanks, Josh.
Just say, we're talking about keeping an eye on your bodily functions. That's one to look out for as well.
And happy belated birthday, Josh. May your poops always be a ropey S.
Indeed.
From your friends and stuff they don't want you to know. Don't make that face, Matt. We're getting away with this one.
Shooting ropes into a toilet.
No, not ropes. We don't shoot ropes. That's not how we shoot ropes, man.
Wait, what?
Ropes are different.
That's my new
Shooting ropes
thing.
is something very different.
What is? Oh, wait. Oh, I just now got it. Oh,
that's
crap.
Very different.
Okay.
Ropey S's.
No, it's a different fluid entirely. Shooting ropes.
Boy.
No.
Nature is beautiful. Moving on.
Think Spider-Man, but from your nether regions.
With apologies to everybody listening with their family.
No.
Yes, this is on top of all these other common odors. Like bad breath or sweat, the stuff that will naturally accrete if you are not super mobile or you're not capable of being as hygienic as you usually would be. Breath is a huge indicator. And just like we talked about with pheromones, it's really difficult to study breath. I will also add, since we apply critical thinking to conspiracies, what do you guys think about the idea that halitosis was made up to sell mouthwash?
I mean, it's certainly real. If you don't brush your teeth and you get kind of this kind of poo-poo smell, it's very much a real thing. I don't know that it's a condition, though. Is it?
Halitosis was made up, right? But the concept of having a tonsil stone or something like that, I mean, that's real.
Absolutely. And it's an accompanying smell.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that the term was more of a marketing ploy, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I think they needed a name to hang it on. There's a great article in the Smithsonian from back in 2015 by Laura Clark, How Halitosis Became a Medical Condition with a Cure. Bad breath always existed. It just wasn't monetized.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness they did monetize it, because I enjoy everybody going around with minty fresh breath.
You know what? Yeah, I'm not even the biggest fan of mint. It's just better than the alternative. You know what I mean? It's better than
coffee and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Breakfast of champions. Also, check out a water pick. If you're floss averse, a water pick is a great alternative, and it will, just using it a couple times, a week, it will definitely go a long way. And you will smell that smell that we're talking about if you need to use a floss situation and you have not.
That smell. Yeah. The smell of someone on the way to the grave can still exist no matter what kind of sanitary regimen that individual has. And from what we've seen in research, generally the smells of someone who are on the way from this mortal veil, they become more distinct and noticeable toward the last 1 to 2 weeks of life. And those smells can improve, but they can also worsen depending on a number of factors. Caretakers, who are a lot of caretakers are just unsung heroes. They don't get paid enough. They go above and beyond. They do their best to mitigate some of these odors. But as a person reaches the end of their life, the smells will inevitably worsen. A change in smell is actually one of the big flags to a lot of caretakers. You've attuned yourself to a person's body for, months or years, and then something changes. That is a flag for you. And a lot of caretakers take that very seriously.
Yeah. Once sepsis sets in, it's it's not long after that.
Yeah. And the thing is, all of this that we've described, these are all very real things. They're all case by case. There's a lot of proven science here, but this is not necessarily the smell of death itself. It's the smell of things associated with troubling medical conditions. One question that we started asking was, why do so many people encounter this intense visceral reaction near the dying? Like, you walk into a hospital. We all know, unfortunately, as Noel was saying, the smell of hospitals somewhere after 3 a.m. Oh my God.
In winter, and the feeling that it's all a lot of oysters with no pearls.
Oh my gosh. They got to me.
They got to us all, buddy. They got to us all.
Oh man. But I think you're on the money there, Noel, because it is such a universal experience for people. You can walk in and you can feel that death is nearby, even if you don't know the person who is passing or you can't see them. There's something about being in proximity to death that puts so many people on edge. Maybe it's memory. Maybe we just have these unpleasant associations in the past. But could that account for everything? Or could there be a deeper mechanism at play? What do you say we take a break for a word from our sponsors?
Yes.
All right, we've returned. Let's introduce to the stage now something called putrescine.
Putrescine, a 4-carbon alkaline alpha-omega diamine.
Wait, alpha-omega diamine? That's
alkaline
the beginning.
Alpha-omega diamine.
It's the beginning and the end.
And
There's
sure is
poetry
definitely
in
the
chemistry.
end. Yeah. Putrescine also sounds like a Futurama product. I don't know what it does.
I was also thinking of it feels like it would be a band that has the black metal graphic font on a t-shirt, like,
impossible to read.
Yeah. And it would be some
you just gotta know.
Metal guy. Oh, you like putrescine? Named 3 of their previous bass players.
I couldn't possibly.
Putrescine,
They all died under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah. I bet you like decarboxylation too, man.
Right. Oh, you like brutalism? Name 3 concrete examples.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite Carcass song? Is it Manifestation of Varicose Urethra?
Whoa, what?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
We are fun at parties. It does appear that there is a deeper mechanism at play. If the smell of death does exist for humans, it may well be attributed to putrescine. In 2015, there was a fascinating study that delved into this.
Researchers Arnaud Wisman and Ilan Shrira. Wow, that's correct. Shrira, a psychologist at the University of Kent and a behavioral scientist at Arkansas Tech University, respectively, delved into this very mystery in their study, The Smell of Death, Evidence and Putrescine Elicits Threat Management Mechanisms, which in and of itself could be a death metal song. They found that this excretion, this substance, putrescine, a chemical compound emitted by fatty acids breaking down when dead tissues decay, is a hardwired olfactory threat indicator. Like what we were talking about earlier, certain things that kind of like hip your brain to an impending negative situation. Similar to how some other organisms secrete alarm pheromones, which we talked about in our previous episode. So in the study, they conducted 4 separate tests that exposed people to putrescine. They found time and time again that people encountering this substance were edgy, were stressed, were under duress. Just sensing it created a cognitive reaction that related to a fight or flight mechanism.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This isn't used in smelling salts, is it? Or one of those things that make you just go
like, whoa, makes you pop,
adrenaline
into
That's a
action.
good question.
It looks like it's not a common additive or ingredient in smelling salts that are available, at least commercially. That would just be alcohol and ammonia, and which many of us lovingly know as cat pee-pee. But, or at least the scent of it, the waft of the cat pee-pee.
It is oppressive, yeah.
The litter box napalm.
100%. I do wonder, though, if putrescine has any interesting uses, perhaps. Maybe some folks from that death metal community might want to like bottle it up and sell it as a scent.
Yeah. On that note, there does seem to be an opportunity in the market for repellent fragrance. Alarm, warning, go away kind of stuff. I'm interested to see the research. DARPA, over to you. Okay, guys? Yeah. So hop to on that.
Sprinkle it all around the bunker.
Sprinkle it all around. Please, if you are a high-level diplomat and you're going to have a difficult conversation, just slap some of that on your pits. Because they'll say yes to get out of the room. So in this trial, this is interesting. So they have these 4 different tests that we're describing. In one trial, they have 60 people open the jar and snarf it, give it a huff. Some of these people encounter ammonia, smelling salts. It's a gross but not terrifying odor. Others met the smell of putrescine, or met the molecules of putrescine, and afterwards they sit in front of a screen, these participants, and they have to stare at the screen until a red dot randomly and unpredictably appears. The folks who huffed putrescine were consistently quicker to react, to clock and identify the dot. And this indicates to the scientists that something about encountering this smell makes people more vigilant. It's a weird performance buff.
That's so strange, because the ammonia in smelling salts is meant to do the same thing, right? That's right. The theoretical use of those is to take a huff and then go work out, or then go, fight in the octagon and that kind of thing. Like, I mean, really, like that's what they're used, because it gets your adrenaline pumping and theoretically makes you ready for war or ready to take on anything that's coming at you.
Dude, not to keep harping on the death metal stuff, but I distinctly remember this this feature in Spin magazine back in the day when I was like a teenager about the Norwegian black metal scene. And there was this one dude who had this like dead crow carcass that he kept in a bag, and he would huff a whiff of it before every show. And he described it as getting the putrefaction of death in his nostrils, and it would give him like a pumped up kind of vibe to perform the metal show.
Well, thinking about this experiment and then the way they're testing it with that red dot, you guys, what does that make you think about? Just identifying a red dot in darkness.
Oh, right. Like eyes of predators.
Yeah, that's what it makes me think about, at least. So then I imagine, this evolutionary need to be able to look out into, the forest or something and just pick out when a set of eyes is illuminated by the fire or something.
Because you've smelled the carcass, which means a predator may be nearby. Also, shout out to that reference. The name of the musician you're talking about, Noel, what like the stage name was actually Dead. That's from the band Mayhem.
Yes. Yeah, that's right, from Mayhem. Yeah, I remember. Spooky dude.
I remember too. Like it makes sense that putrescine would elicit this instinctual, unconscious reaction, and we have to wonder how much more testing can be done here. There is another weird test they did, by the way, and I think you're on the money, Matt, with the concept of predator identification. So we said they have 4 studies. In 2 more of these experiments on a university campus, they randomly stopped something like 100-ish people. So a guy walks up to you and they say, "Do you have time to help us out with some research we're doing?"
I really got to get to class, but okay.
Yeah, what? Okay. Yeah, it's just real quick. Okay, so will you lean into this jar and just huff it real quick? It's fine. We work for the college.
You only live once. Oh, I gotta go.
Could you describe? Oh, he's walking away. Oh, he's running. He's running. Okay, get the next one. Ted, Get the next one. That's literally what happened. They went up to people with these jars, and some of these jars had putrescine, and they asked random folks to huff from the jar. And just like you so beautifully depicted, Matt, after snarfing the putrescine, people walked away faster than the folks who had smelled ammonia. And still, the folks who smelled ammonia were probably thinking, you guys are d***s.
Yeah.
What? I have to go to poli-sci in 4 minutes.
This is not cool.
This is not cool. But it's also a moment to ask. I mean, you're a college student. You portrayed that so well, Matt. What would we do if a random person came up to you and asked you to huff from an unidentified jar?
I think you walk away before
that's a no from me, dog.
You hear the whole thing out.
I don't think I give him time to give me the full spiel.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Radio Rental that just came out recently where there's a story about jars filled with stuff in them. That was like a true story. Ugh. It's a reminder to go listen to Radio Rental if you get a chance, because you'll hear real stories like about this. But guys, I didn't know that putrescine is, at least from what I'm reading, a solid, which is gross to think about, first of all. But then even worse is thinking about cadaverine, which is it's very similar. They call it a homologue of putrescine, but it is like the goo. Yeah,
it's the gack. It's the gunk.
Yeah,
it's the gushy stuff.
No.
Yeah, that isn't a song. Absolutely a song lyric, to be fair.
But they're talking about different gushy stuff. To be fair as well. Yeah, cadaverine. Get it? Like a cadaver. Putrescine and cadaverine are responsible, we believe, for the odor of putrefying flesh across multiple organisms. These were first described by Ludwig Breiger back in 1885, but science didn't really understand how these molecules affected healthy human beings until much, much later. So that proves to us, yes, death has a smell. In some cases, impending death has a smell that other people can clock before the dying person can, because it can be very difficult to smell yourself, which is just another, stuff they don't want you to know. Hygiene tip. We're not busting anybody's bones here. We're not being judgmental, but if you smell yourself, your breath, your body scent, and you think it's unpleasant, get these to a washroom.
Yeah. Everyone else certainly can.
Yeah,
no question.
Guys, before we move on to the next stuff, can we talk about cadaver dogs really fast?
Let's do it.
Please. Always a fascinating subject.
We brought them up many times, and as we talked about in the top of the show, dogs, canines, just have this incredible sense of smell, and they can pick stuff out, and they can be trained pretty easily. Like, it's not easy to train a dog to hunt for anything, right? A drug sniffing dog, cadaver dog, anything, or a dog that hunts for missing persons or things like that. But it is easier than training any other animal, and you can't train a human to do it because we don't have the hardware. So it is kind of cool just how it can be done. And just talking there about what was that year? 1885. So like 80 years almost before that, the first theoretical cadaver dog was born and didn't know it was going into action, but it did when it sniffed around an old shed and found that police at the time found 2 dead bodies buried beneath that shed. And it was because the dog could just smell something was going on in that shed.
After death.
Yeah, well after death. So this is like smelling putrescine and, all the other stuff.
All the hits.
But deep underground.
They don't even have to be fresh, though, is the thing. There's a plot point in a Curb episode where they're opening a restaurant where construction gets delayed because a corpse-sniffing dog finds a body buried underneath the foundation of the restaurant, and they have to dig it up and then do an investigation.
And Larry's coming back. Just
He's
side
doing
note.
a thing. Yeah, he's working with Obama.
Well, I think he's doing another season of Curbed too.
What?
I don't think it's called Curb though. It's
Or
something else. It's
okay.
a sketch thing. Yeah, and
But I
Obama
feel like it
is
will
an exec
be
producer.
basically
It's the only thing he
Curbed.
can do. That's what he does.
Amazing. Well, but guys, I'm sorry to go back here, but just that led down a little rabbit hole of the number of human beings that get buried underneath a concrete slab or get incorporated into the structures, the concrete structures of buildings.
Yeah.
There's way too much stuff out there, way too many stories to even mention right now. But cadaver dogs specifically are the thing you can use to find that kind of stuff, because the depth that a human body can be in a state of decomposition is astounding. And a dog can still smell it.
Yes, absolutely, because they have such phenomenal sensory ability. And, it brings us back to another point we often discover in the widest of conversations. As human technology improves, right, and as humans make breakthroughs on technological fronts, civilization just gets closer and closer to existing organic mechanisms, right? You can't like the reason people use cadaver dogs and rescue dogs or landmine sensing rats, for example, and I'm a huge proponent of that, as you guys know, is because these creatures already do things better than the mechanisms that people can build. That's a little bit of a word salad, but it's an important point. We know it gets even weirder, right? If we just take it back to humans, a lot of these reactions that you're going to have to the smell of a medical condition or death, they're often going to be sub or unconscious. Every time you smell another person, you are running a low-key medical diagnostic on them. You are making a diagnosis of their, what's the fancy word? Their odor print. Like how people have fingerprints. Everybody has an odor print as well. That was so weird to me. I guess it felt more powerful because there was a specific word associated.
It's a cool word. It's not just like a little catchy buzz phrase, right?
No, yeah, it is an actual technical term. It's a phrase encapsulating the sum of all the aromas an individual emits. Your breath, your blood, your urine. It's a gestaltic snapshot of your age, your sex, your diet, your metabolism, and of course, your health. And multiple studies show that people tend to smell more, quote unquote, aversive when they're under the weather. Not even when you're dying, but sickness can have a smell. Different medical conditions can have a smell that repels other people, even if they are not aware of it consciously. A few examples: someone with yellow fever can smell like a butcher's shop, like meat being chopped. Someone with typhoid can smell like baked bread. Folks battling diabetes, and we can confirm this one firsthand, can smell faintly of rotting apples. And we know why. It's because of the acetone released on the breath.
Whoa.
So even if you're not a super smeller, Jerry style, you will likely be able to clock these scents.
Yeah.
And everything instinctually inside you, even if you're not aware of it, everything instinctually inside you will be telling you to go away.
Yeah, you've probably experienced something like this when you've had somebody you probably in your family or a child or a parent or something that just has a weird smell about them all of a sudden, and you notice that, oh, they're starting to sneeze a lot, and then they get sick. Or you encounter someone who has a specific smell and it's hard to even place, but to me, it's the same kind of thing where you're smelling sickness, right? You're attuned to sickness, not a specific virus or specific infection or something. It's just your body knows and senses, oh, I need to stay away from this person where they're not going to sneeze on me.
Exactly. Yes, you can not only smell death, you can smell sickness if all your mechanisms are functioning properly. And there is a positive note that may surprise several of us here in the audience tonight. When healthy people encounter these sick smell signals, which are just kind of the part and parcel of the sick signals, right? The red eyes, staggered movement, sweat, and phlegm, that kind of stuff. When you encounter those sick smell signals, your own body can kick into gear and slightly but measurably increase your own immune activity. So even if you can't explain it to yourself, your body is taking action to protect you. That person smells sick, says your body to itself, but not to you consciously. We got to get out of here. Also, let's shift up to second gear real quick.
Yep. You're going to rush away
second.
from these guys and their jars.
These jars, why, why did I smell that random jar? I've got to stop listening to people just because they're wearing lab coats. Damn it. So there we go. I mean, this is, I guess, less a case of stuff they don't want you to know and more a case of stuff your body knows and doesn't bother consciously telling you. We owe a lot to dogs, our resident super smellers. They're going to play a big role in early detection of medical conditions in the years to come. There was actually research on creating an artificial dog nose, and it's worthwhile research, but it solves a problem humanity doesn't have because we already have dogs. Shout out Apollo, who's being so good as we record.
Very.
Yeah.
Kind of shocking, right?
So,
I keep forgetting he's there.
So we also haven't mentioned false positives. So there are times you can smell bad due to something positive, like entering ketosis. If you're working out, you're on a keto diet, or having a strenuous exercise or sex session. You're going to end up with a smell. But death and sickness do have a smell. It's an invisible, often unconscious, highly sophisticated warning system meant to safeguard the species. And as we mentioned, a lot of us unfortunately have firsthand experience with this. If you're comfortable sharing your own stories, times you have smelled mortality, we'd love to hear them. You can send us an email. You can give us a call. You can find us on the lines.
That's right. You can sniff us out at the handle Conspiracy Stuff, where we exist on X, FKA Twitter, on YouTube with video content galore for your enjoyment, and also on Facebook with our Facebook group, Here's Where It Gets Crazy. On Instagram and TikTok, however, you'll have to smell us at the handle Conspiracy Stuff Show.
If you'd like to call us and use your mouth to say words into a telephonic device, why not call 1-833-STDWYTK? When you call in, give yourself a cool nickname and let us know within the message if we can use your name and message on the air. If you've got something else to say, maybe in word form, why not instead send us an email? We are
the entities that read each piece of correspondence we receive. Be well aware, yet unafraid. Sometimes the void writes back. Please, 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 folks, help us out. What on God's green earth is that fake lemon chemical? I can't get it out of the back of my mouth right now.
It smells like floor cleaner.
But why is it in food? What? Conspiracy at iHeartRadio.com.
Stuff They Don't Want You to Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.